Another clip-on again. Hello fans, welcome back to CGC. Back when I saw even audio brands like the roseselsa making the Openfree clip-ons, I thought the clip-on battlefield had already started. But who knew this year is when things really get competitive. And today we are reviewing the Earfun Clip2, normal price at $79 and sale price at $59. A product that deserves a fresh look. And so big shout out and thank you to Earfun for sending me a free sample to test. So who would have thought? I finally become one of those creators who gets products sent to them. But don't worry, when I talked to the brand, I made it very clear. Getting a sample doesn't guarantee a video, and if I do make one, everything I say is based on my own experience. No false flattery, and brand fully respects my creative freedom, so I definitely hope for more collaborations like this. After all, that's how I can test more products and share with you without going completely broke. Because honestly, since starting this channel, I've bought way too many false gold headphones out of my own pocket. In this video, we'll do a detailed review of the Clip2 and also compare it with the other clip-ons I currently have in the similar price range. So like the tozo OpenEar Ring, the moondrop, the roseselsa Openfree, the soundcore C30i, and the baseus MC1 Pro to see which one is truly worth it. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like and leave a comment. It really means a lot to me. So let's start with the unboxing and charging case. The Clip2's packaging is the same pull-out style as the Air Pro 4i, not as premium as the top and bottom lid design of the 4 or the 4 Plus. And since it doesn't need ear tips, it saves space inside, but that also means that you don't get extras like the nice manual box or the clean tool, things that add a bit of a premium feel. But personally, as long as the headphones themselves are good, packaging isn't a huge deal. I'd rather you drop the price by $3 or $5 anyway, then give me a fancy manual I've never read. So the charging case is a little chunkier compared to the others. It feels like holding a big pebble in your hand. It has a matte finish which is more scratch resistant than glossy plastic. And the texture is dry, not greasy, and doesn't attract fingerprints. Any oil wipes off easily, not like the 4i that gets that dirty look. The lid is smooth and there is a nice limiter at the back, so you can grab the earbuds easily. But now, the silicone on the C-bridge. It's really stinks. Like the whole case smells of silicone. It doesn't feel like you bought an earbuds. It feels like you bought a pair of black leather shoes. I had to air them out for 2 days before it got better. If you need to use them right away, think twice. My friend make a dark joke. He said, well, unless you know they sent you a brand new unit, which is better than the Samsung Galaxy Buds Core situation back in the day. The control area uses physical buttons. Right now, whether it's clip-ons or in-ears, touch controls are all the rage. When I first saw buttons on this, I thought it looks a bit low-end, a bit old school. But honestly, the practicality wins in the end. I think blind operation shouldn't be about tapping randomly and hoping it registers. It should be something you just know how to do without thinking. Taking the Huawei Free Clip2 as an example, the sound ball, the weight ball, and the C-bridge all touch sensitive, but in real use, a lot of the time it feels like luck. Whether I hit the right spot, especially double tap or the triple tap, I usually have to guess. Tap twice, wait 3 seconds, and nothing happens, and try again. Am I the only one? So these physical buttons are actually way more reassuring. For Storm-style earbuds, the buttons don't work well because you'd have to push against your ear canal, uncomfortable. But with clip-ons, the real housing is already behind your ear, so you just squeeze it. It doesn't affect the front at all. And plus, it prevents accidental touches. Honestly, I wish more ear clips were designed this way. The only downside, yeah, it doesn't look as good. And at the first use, it's a bit counterintuitive. Single clip changes the volume, but you can customize the button functions in the app, and once you get used to it, it's really convenient. And the rear housing is a bit large, so they definitely have a presence on your ear. I'm glad they don't market this as weakness. And sure enough, I didn't say that over-the-top claim on their website. They only say low pressure or the pressure-free. As we can see, the C-bridge has an inward angle of about 40 degrees. It does really clip onto your ear. At 5.5 grams, for me, the pressure isn't too bad, but the opening angle isn't very wide. So if you try to stretch it further, clamping first become noticeable. I asked a friend with larger ears to try them. After about 4 or 5 hours, he started feeling obvious pain from the clamp. But I can wear them for maybe 7 or 8 hours and still be fine. So it really comes down to the personal fit. They are not weightless, but overall comfort is still pretty good. So getting interested? Here is the main event. Besides Huawei, I haven't really praised any clip-ons for their sound, but Earfun kind surprised me. The Clip2 uses a custom 12mm titanium-coated composite dual magnetic driver and has high-res audio certification and supports LDAC. The overall frequency response is very balanced. The bass performance is decent. It's mostly centered in the mid to back area, and for an open ear clip, it's above average. Can't compare to the Huawei, but it beats most others. The bass decay is okay, and the kick drum in the music comes through fully, but some deeper bass sounds still inevitably sound a bit hollow, and the mid-range the vocals are clear and natural. This is where the Clip2 really differs from the other clip-ons. Usually, because the sound nozzle sits some distance away your ear canal, the left and right channels feel very separate. To put it simply, you feel like there is a gap between your left and right brain. Even the Huawei Free Clip 2 isn't immune to this. I think it's normal for clip-ons, but with Earfun, I suspect they angled the driver more inward because it gives me a more centered image. Listening to Adele's many years ago, her voice is right in the middle of my brain. Great imaging, very in your face. However, although the position is good, once you play a higher note, there will be a slight distortion. If it's a song you are familiar with, you will easily notice it. And the treble is moderately bright, maybe just a little dark, not piercing, but the ultra-high frequency do distort noticeably. Instruments extension and the resolution are average. You can barely catch the piano overtones, and the positioning isn't as precise as the Huawei's, but separation is good among the better clip-ons. And one important thing, you need to turn the volume up a bit higher than normal. If it's too low, you lose a lot of detail because the nozzle is tucked inward and inevitably further from your ear canal. But if you go too loud, you clearly hear distortion in vocals and treble instruments. So if you can find the sweet spot volume, the Clip2 sounds great. If not, it might just sound distorted and scratchy. Overall, I'd give the sound quality an 8 out of 10. And I want to give special attention to the app this time, because it's had a major update. So first, there is a filter mode that you can't even use right away. It gives a surround sound effect, but you have to turn off the LDAC to use it. And in my experience, that noticeably degrades the sound quality. Not recommended for the music, and for movies with heavy atmosphere, maybe it gets brighter and reverby. And then there is the disable all control toggle. Previously it was on by default on the April 4i, weird, and now it's off by default. So if you want to disable touch controls, you can turn it on. And still a bit old, but at least it doesn't mess with the normal use anymore. And the other standard feature aren't worth listing one by one, but here's the nice touch. While playing music, the app shows a now playing pop-up, and tap that you can go straight to the EQ part. And normally, if you go to the EQ from the main page, it's just an EQ part. But from the pop-up, you can adjust the EQ while the song is playing, so you can tune it per track. A small thing, but thoughtful. And one notice, the EQ seems to work by cutting other frequencies rather than actually boosting the selected ones. So as soon as you pull up one hand, the rest of the sound drops noticeably. The result is very weird, and hopefully they can fix this with the firmware update. Looking forward to more precise EQ control down the line. So let's compare this with the other clip-ons. Go by price. So first up, the tozo OpenEar Ring, on sale for $24, normally $40, and the upside is it sounds surprisingly good for the money. Plenty of bass and decent treble. The app is plain and gives you a 10-band EQ with 16 presets. But the downside is it doesn't really give you that open, airy feeling. It's missing that witness vibe, and the vocals are way too forward. On my small ear, it even sounded a bit distorted. And for normal ears, it's fine, but not great. The clamp is a little hard, so you definitely feel them on your ears, and this is at 450 milliseconds. That's a no-go for gaming. And no multi-point connection, no lossless codec support, so feature-wise, it's clearly behind the earphone. But hey, the price is low. If you just need something for outdoor use, it was a shot. And next, the moondrop pill at $42. This is the best looking one, and no contest. Comfort is better than the tozo, and clamp is gentler, and it supports dual device connection. The app has pro-level EQ and community sharing features, but the flaws, they are kind of ridiculous. The shell is the biggest of the bunch, and the treble is way too boosted, which makes the mid sound hollow. The bass is just average, and the atmosphere is poor. I would actually rate this dead last in the sound quality. Battery life is only 28 hours and worst here. And let's say at 221 milliseconds, still not good for gaming. And about the app, all style, no substance. Complicated and not practical. Honestly, it's all show and no go. Pretty but useless. I wouldn't recommend it unless you just want a toy. And then we have the roseselsa Openfree, also $42. The sound is excellent, obvious. It really nails that balance between in-ear and open-ear. And the good bass and vocals are forward, but with good space. And the treble is pushed back, so it's not harsh. And the comfort is top tier. The C-bridge is super thin, and the weight is well distributed. And it works well for both small and large ears. Battery life is 52 hours. That's number one here. And latency goes down to 159 milliseconds with game mode. It supports LDAC, LHDC, and LC3. Pretty much every codec you want. Also, dual device connection, the game mode, the touch controls. And I think the complaint is about the charging case picking up the fingerprints very easily because it's matte finish and there is no custom EQ, but there is a bass boost. Honestly, no obvious weak point. If you need earbuds for long hours, like on the construction site, or doing deliveries, the Openfree has always been a value champ. And between this and the Earfun Clip2, there is a clear price difference. You can't just pick based on your budget. And now, the Soundcore C30i at $69. I'm not going to say much here, honestly. It's a total fail. The poster child of what not to do. The comfort is the worst of all. The plastic C-bridge has no flex. It's hard and slippery and weird. You have to squeeze your ear to get them on, and they bite you when you take them off. The sound quality is terrible, like an old AM radio. I generally don't understand how this product even exists, no matter how early it came out. And finally, the baseus MC1 Pro at $63. The sound is very good. It really maximizes that open-ear feel. Bright and wide soundstage, good layering, and the treble is pushed back effectively, and it's IP67 waterproof. You can literally soak them. And latency down to 159 milliseconds, and it supports dual connection, LDAC, touch controls. There is even a decorative accessory you can buy, but the comfort is a problem. Strong sensation here, and the C-bridge clamping force is too heavy. It provides constant pressure. Stability is good, but anyway, comfort is poor. And the EQ is basically unusable, similar to the Earfun Clip2. So at the similar price point, the Earfun Clip2 just wins. So to sum up, the Earfun Clip2 has its issues, and they do affect the experience. The unbearable smile right out of the box is the biggest one. But this time, the sound tuning really exceeds my expectations. It doesn't have that smart or techy feel of the Huawei Free Clip2, but the whole design gives me this down-to-earth, honest vibe, like I don't have a ton of money, but I can give you a ton of love. They tried their best in every aspect, and that attitude deserves recognition. But except for that smell, oh man, I really can't stand it. I'm afraid my ears will get pickled after wearing them too long. So Earfun, please fix this, and then I will recommend you again. so just kidding. Alright, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Hope this video brings you some help. See you next time. Go on, Jessie.